Hey everyone, it's Anastasia Grace here from Anastasia Grace, and I am here with Erik Bergan. We're gonna have a beautiful, beautiful conversation. We've got so much to chat about. He's just like a wicked, wicked type of guy. Just a short introduction of myself. You can find more information on anastasiagrace.com. I specialize in behavioral change, in emotional well-being, as a transformational coach, as an emotional practitioner, emotional well-being practitioner. I work with men and women and couples. And this relating of masculine and feminine, this is incredible. I have a great interest in that, and I have been on a great journey with that, interact with gender relations between men and women, and a couple relating. And Erik here has his own beautiful story. He is originally from Norway and moved to Australia. So he has a background in sales, but now he is exploring his childhood talent of photography, and he's doing some magic with photography. He actually transforms people through his lens of his camera, through his photography. So Erik, I'm gonna give you an opportunity to introduce yourself and to share who you are and to shine your light a little bit more onto us.
I love it. Thank you. First of all, I have watched some of the other interviews, and I am so just feel honored as a man to have someone like yourself creating a series honoring and really wanting to understand the masculine. That is such a beautiful gift to us. We feel really honored watching that. I've showed it to a few of my friends. They're like, wow. So thank you for doing that.
My pleasure.
Simple story. No, honestly, it makes a big difference just to knowing that people like yourself are out there. So let's make it valuable. First of all, I think it'd be useful to hear how we met.
Oh yeah,
I forgot your name. I forgot your name, Anastasia. You came to an amazing networking event, and I was kind of the host. It was my first event running myself, and I decided that, we're going to run a name game. Everyone has to remember one name, and then we introduce each other. So I was going to introduce you, and I called you Natasha. So I wanted to, just having you having me on your program is a huge sentiment to your grace and your patience with men. I want to thank you for that. It's a big deal. It's a big deal.
I have a very big patience with men, and my partner can
which is downright necessary if you want to have a long-term relationship, I believe, with a masculine man. So thank you for that. Yes, you're absolutely right. I started in Norway, started my life there. Was running around with a camera at 11 years old. In the snow, in the cold, 4 a.m. on Sunday morning, I was down on the pier, kind of finding my shot. Like lying on the ground. Old mate would walk by with his dog. Walking his dog on a Sunday morning. He'd be like, "Are you okay? Are you all right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. And then I would turn around and go, "Actually, you look great. Could you just stand there? Can I take a picture?" So I took photos of dog walkers and frozen piers at 19. Then I decided, to grow up and find a real career. So I've studied physics and maths and chemistry. That's what I was going for in my early years. I was always alone. Didn't have a girlfriend. I was kind of that loner, but also like a kind of the friend zone guy in high school. So I would, women would confide in me because they didn't see me as attractive or a threat, but they could relate to me. So I grew up with a sister and a mother, so I had a lot of emotional intelligence, but I didn't have a lot of masculine, flair, or I didn't possess that power at that time. So I was the friend zone kid doing photos, and then I switched to doing science, and I was just completely just a nerd, and I was completely enthralled with this: get good grades, become an engineer, blah 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 blah.
Yep.
At a pivotal moment in my life was when my sister, who's younger, she's 1 year younger. I was her protectress all my life. You know, I was a protector. I was a
That's
protector.
an interesting. That's actually that's very interesting. I will ask you
Protectors, right?
questions about feminine, masculine. Yeah.
Please do, right? Please do. So I was a protector for her. That was the role that I put on myself. And at 16 years old, she dropped out of high school and traveled to the United States. And I thought, what the, who are you? Like, you're not supposed to do this. I'm supposed to look after you. You're supposed to follow my lead. And so that was a really painful, kind of traumatic event in life of being, right? But I decided that what does this mean, right? As humans, we're meaning-making machines. So, I had to create a meaning. Like, what does this mean? And so the meaning that I gave it eventually, after I calmed down a little bit and, stopped blaming her, was, well, if she can do it, then I can do it as well. I mean, I can travel, I can create my own life, and I don't have to follow in anyone's footsteps. So what do I actually want? What do I want? And, I took my second shot at photography there. I said, I'm going to move to Australia. I'm going to study photography. And so I did that, and I honored myself. I moved to Australia, and it was one of the most empowering moments of my life. I could recreate myself. No one knew who I was, right? So there's no one that knows me. I can be who I want. And so I completely changed my tune. Preston Smiles talks about, try the opposite. Whatever you've been doing, try the opposite. Try the complete opposite. So I did the whole opposite. I started drinking. I started having girlfriends. I rode a motorbike, and I was just living the dream in North Queensland. Yeah, living the Australian dream, which was awesome. It's an incredible experience to have. I soon realized that for whatever reason, it felt shallow. I felt like I was constricted. So I was kind of like a big fish in a small pond kind of thing. That's the analogy, very simplified, but I felt like a really big fish. Like, I got a big mission. I don't know what to do with it. And so I moved to Sydney. So I took the big step, moved to the biggest place I've ever seen, went to Sydney, and very soon realized that photography was really hard. Making money in photography was really challenging. And at the time, I did not know how to sell myself. I didn't know how to even identify with a branding package and like how to pitch clients. I had no idea. And so I decided, as many photographers do, to give up on my dream. Okay. So I gave up, and, with my camera, I sold all my camera gear. It was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. And I took up a real job. I said, well, if I can't do this, then, I better be successful at something. I better become a millionaire or something. I better go for something. And that became sales. I heard that sales was an important skill to learn. And 4 years ago, I walked into a sales office and just was me. They liked me and trained me. And I'm so incredibly grateful for that experience of 4 years of relentless face-to-face, door-to-door sales, commission only, like door slammed in my face, and like rain and sunshine, commission only. Like, that was my life. And for 4 years, I've made my living on commission only, door-to-door sales, training other people to do the same. And it has been the most incredible school of life that I could ever imagine. I've spoken to 47,000 people. Wow. 47,000 people all over Australia. Over Australia.
In my own belief, when I see those people just like approaching and going straight, in my own belief, I was like, if you can do this, you can do anything. Just like you probably have no fears left at all, because to me it seems like the scariest, most intimidating thing ever.
Yes, absolutely. And let's get into this is a really interesting point. I'm very glad you said that, because that was the mentality. It was like, if you can do this, you can do anything. Yeah. And it became a domino thing in my life. It became a domino, like, oh, I can knock on doors and sell a product, then I can do anything. Like this it becomes that. It's why skydiving is so powerful. You do the most scary thing, and then everything else becomes less scary in comparison, right? And so that was a huge gift. I would not be the man I am without that experience. Now, if you go into the feminine, masculine, your viewership is very well educated, it seems, so far. on feminine and masculine. We're going to get into that as well. But if you can imagine a guy that's grown up with women, highly evolved, not evolved, but a very, very exercised feminine side, a underdeveloped masculine, uncovered. It was still covered, the masculine side. In fact, we can get into it in a second, but it was actually quite subdued, quite consciously subdued masculine side. I have a very feminine, active, empathic, feeling being. I'm very, I've quite evolved that way. But putting myself in a situation where I had to perform and go, and regardless, and no matter what, and hit my goal, that forced me to like jerk into the masculine energy, and I had to make it happen. I had to make it happen. Otherwise, I wasn't going to eat.
Yes. How was it for you? How was it for you that transition when you had to jump into the masculine?
Oh, it was horrible. It was horrible. The only reason I stuck by it was because I saw role models what it would be like on the side. I had some amazing mentors, especially one mentor that was like an incredible masculine role model. I was like, I just want to be like him. He was in many ways the father I never had.
Is it
the point that
young years, or was it in the company, or who was
in the company,
okay,
in the company, I was 23 when I started, and the only reason I stuck with it was because I saw the caliber of human that the person running the company was a huge mentor of mine and still is to this day. So I'm not trying to make it sound like it was a easy transition, and it was also very much driven by the power of example. I was pulled towards his example. Whatever he's doing, I want to be like him. I want to be like him. I want to be like him.
Yes.
And that forced me to go this way.
Yes.
And then
because,
now I'm still
I'll just
figuring out which way to go.
Interrupt you for a second, because that's where the conflict lies with many men not being able to that switch on or trigger that divine masculine or that healthy masculine, because they don't have enough good role models, or they don't grow up with a good role model. And our world quite often doesn't present many good role models. There are models for masculinity, but different types of masculinity. So and I worked with many men who had a difficulty of stepping into the powerful masculine because of the fear, or because of the fears and the stigmas that what can it bring. There's like insensitivity or aggression or just being scary, being too much, and so on and so forth. So this is very interesting what you're sharing.
We're coming out of this haze of guilt. We're just coming out of the haze of guilt, of thousands of years of oppression towards women. And we, as men, we definitely feel it. And we don't feel it consciously, but we feel it through our parents and our parents' parents. There's this very much you better put a lid on that fierce masculine energy, because it has caused so much harm in the past. And so we even have a hard time asking our queens for what we want. Right. That's a byproduct of this guilt, right? We don't feel entitled to ask for what we want in a relationship. So we end up leading these people pleaser lifestyle, at least for me. I'm going to speak from my experience, because I'm just opening my eyes to the bigger picture. But in my experience, I was living this people pleaser lifestyle because I didn't feel like I deserved to get what I wanted just because I wanted it, right?
And
so there was this
you're a man and you want it. And I can speak to women that we as women quite often face, and we share between each other what we deal with is either the guys who are harsh and sensitive, like I'm gonna get whatever I want, or a pleaser, or that's that kind of weakling type of a person. So and why that's one of the reasons why I've started this series and speaking to men, because I see so much beauty in men, and I want to show that I want them to open up. I want them to open up and to show how much is there and how much depth is there and how much beauty is there, and what a magical interaction of true feminine and true masculine is. It's beyond magical. Beyond magical.
Yes. Well said. Well said. Well said. I feel so honored right now. I'm just going to bask in that. That was beautiful.
No, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Yep. So, do you mind if I jump into the questions?
I'm loving these. Let's do it.
We have touched on your transition. So, what does it mean to be a man now? Like, obviously, you had a certain vision or perception of what was it like, what you should do, and then you had you change your state, you change of energies and activated other energies, and we're still on the journey, and we always are on the journey. But what is it for you? What does it mean to be a man?
What a great question. Like, what an important question in this day and age, right? What an important question. And the word that comes to mind is, it talks about man, it's a conscious man, right? Whatever that means. That's the definition that we're still deciding on. But a conscious man, to me, the word that comes to mind is integrity. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And kind of an old school word. I used to avoid that word because I didn't identify with it. Integrity simply for me means that I do what I say I'm going to do. Okay. And for me, that is the main differentiator between a boy and a man. A man is someone who will stand for what he has said or what he believes, and nothing else gets in the way of that. So, an example with my queen. So, Jamie and I have been together. We now have had a beautiful relationship for 18 months, and it's blowing me away every single day. Like, it's remarkable the power that the feminine has to train the masculine. Oh my God, it's amazing. I owe a lot of my success and my well-being now, my power, to her seeing it in me before I did, right? But an important conversation that we used to have was, what is it that actually decides whether you're a man or a boy? What is the difference? And she said, all my past boyfriends or some of my past toxic relationships have been because there was no trust. The trust wasn't there. And if the feminine doesn't feel trusted, then she doesn't feel safe to dance and to flow and to, and that's the trust needs to be there. And so for me, a man is someone who can hold trust. And the way to hold trust, in my opinion, in my experience so far, is to be my word. Mm-hmm. Okay, in every sense of the word, like, be my word. And so what happens is, as soon as and women are going to test me. I know that. I learned that very early on. Women are going to test this. They're going to see how solid this is. How solid am I? And they're going to try to knock me off course and try to tell me that I suck and I'm not worthy. And they're going to push my triggers and buttons, not because they want to hurt me, but because they need to feel completely safe. They need to feel that this is rock solid. They can handle everything so that they are free to express and dance and create the magic that is the It's remarkable how incredible you are. Women are. Oh my God. And so for me, a man is someone who can hold integrity, meaning be his word, which creates trust around him.
That's beautiful, and I completely agree with that. Like, trust and safety is number one for the feminine, and what I see a lot, and I would like to get your opinion on you, is that for men, this kind of issue or trauma of not good enough is this kind of underline that they are constantly trying to overcome, and when you said, like, women test test me and saying like I'm not good enough. What I see in my relationship is not that I'm even intentionally testing, but like few things would come up and masculine feels like I'm not good enough. And so what comes out from that? So what growth comes out of that,
Yes.
and how is facing those issues? You have options of like completely shutting down, shutting off, and get into like aggression or numbness or distancing or ignoring this, or you can start breaking through this kind of fear or wounding of I'm not good enough. How do you deal with that? How do you face it in your life?
Oh my God. This went real deep. I'm so grateful for this. So how does the feminine let us know? So let me share Jamie's. Jamie is a great example, and I'm going to keep using Jamie because she's just the light of my life and so wiser than she knows. So how does she let me know that I have more to go, like I have more potential, without making me feel like shit? Right? There's got to be a way to navigate that, right?
Yeah,
exactly, a balance. And as you said, she doesn't do it consciously all the time, but she is now just developed, and we've developed a communication style where she can actually let me know that I have more to give without it triggering my not enough. Without it triggering my not enough, and actually allowing me not to feel hurt or defensive. That's what used to happen, right? She would say, babe, she would like lash out at me and go, babe, why can't you just look after us? Like, why can't you just take care of me, right? Like, I just want to feel taken care of. And all of a sudden, I would go into a spiral and go, boom, 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 boom. I'm not enough. I can't even take care of my own queen. I'm not worthy. And, I would do what you said. I would even shut down, right? Close off. That's what I typically do. I go in my cave. I shut off like this. No one can reach me. Or I would lash out. I'm typically not a person to lash out because that's not how I was trained to express when I was a kid. I was very much a shy, like closed off. If anything became too violent, then I would just close off. So that's what used to happen. Now, what she does now instead, and the way she's learned to communicate with me, is very different. Very different. Would you like me to share it?
Yes.
Would that be valuable?
Yes. Okay. I think it's going to be valuable for women out there for sure.
It's so good, right? So good. And it's been a cornerstone of our relationship up until now. So what she does instead, she'll sit me down and she said, baby, I see you and I honor you for how you show up. She'll find one thing that she can trust about me. For example, I can trust that you'll always cuddle me in the morning. And I love that about you. Okay. So at this point, I'm feeling good. I know something's coming, right? So I know something's coming. We've practiced. And so I go, babe, what's really going on? And she said, you know what? The way it makes me feel, okay, when there's uncertainty and I feel that you're scared or nervous about finances, it triggers my safety. It triggers my safety, and I can't feel safe. And when I don't feel safe, then I typically will revert back into my masculine, and that's not good for our polarity. And I've seen this play out before, and I just want to let you know that when there's uncertainty around finances and you feel uncertain around it, it triggers my not enough. It triggers my safety issues, and I just want you to know that you deserve so much better, and I don't want that to be a pattern long term. And then she'll just sit in that. She'll really allow me to feel how painful it is for her. What happens then is two things. One, I don't feel triggered because she hasn't attacked me. The second thing that happens is she's allowing space for me to come in and be her hero, right? Yes. She's allowing me to rise to the occasion as opposed to be beaten. Come on, you can do better. You can do better. That's what we do in sport. We go, fuck, you can do better. You can do better. You can do better. That's a masculine thing. It kills polarity. We're not going to like it. All right. We're not going to, we're going to identify with you as a bro.
Oh,
And
yes.
that's not right. That's not good for anyone. So instead of beating me and forcing me to be one better and one better, one better, she goes, you know what, this is really painful. And when this happens, it triggers my safety. And when I'm not safe, then I can't feel you and I can't open up. And she'll
Yes.
really express it. Like I can't be my full self, and then I can't be as loving towards you because I'm really feeling unsafe. So now she's allowing me, okay, cool. I have two choices. I can step up to the challenge or I can not. And the stepping up to the challenge is way more attractive. Go ahead.
That's so good. It's such a beautiful language. Alison Armstrong calls it a hero language. She has her own.
Hero language.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I have changed the way I speak to men and relate to men after studying her work. And I just want to share quickly how it changed my life, because it's so important. Women, and I was guilty of that as well. Women go on through life quite often, putting labels on men, like men are this, men are that. We've been hurt by men so many times, and we face this kind of like a gender clash all the time. However, when I stepped into the space where I owned how I speak and relate to men, my relationships have changed. So, for example, before, I was growing up with a dominant, tough, very strict dad, and now I am a daughter of a king, a most loving, most protective, most like honorable, and I don't know, most like sweetest man ever. It's the same human being. It's the same person. He hasn't changed. I have just changed my perception of how I relate to him. It's either I relate from him through the masculine, or before I related to him through my rebellious teenage girl or whatever. It caused conflict. As soon as I started relating to him from a divine feminine, all of a sudden this divine masculine showed up, and it gives me all this love and support and encouragement. Even my ex-husband, a marriage went down the drain, specifically because, and I take a big kind of responsibility for that I was quite often in my masculine. And what you just demonstrated, how we speak to the men, when I was pushing too much against, so there was constantly like a clash of his masculine against my masculine. And after divorce, we didn't have a good relationship. But when I've changed again the way I relate, and I started seeing him differently and relating to him, speaking to him differently. He's now much more like supportive and kind and just approachable, so the relationship has changed drastically. So this is really, really, really important for women, and I can't be, it's like I've literally like hand out books of Alison Armstrong to every human I see, just so just so people can start relating to each other differently. And I teach men so they can like find a woman who knows this, who understands that, who is not going to crash you, who is not going to turn you into like most vicious, defensive, horrible, heartbroken, torn apart being, but who will see your light, will support you, who will love you. And I give those books to women saying, this is going to change your life. Men will stop attacking you. Men will stop, being aggressive or diminishing your worth. They will start treating you like a queen, for sure.
Yes. And that's what we want.
Yes,
that's what we actually want. Like, I want to put that up. That's what we actually want. That's what men, we want to love you well.
Oh, women, just hear this, please.
Our deep, oh my, Anastasia, I can't even express it enough. our deepest desire is to love a woman well.
Wow.
That is what we live for. That we live for it. I can say, hand on heart, I live for the love of my queen. To be able to honor and hold her is the greatest gift of this lifetime.
Wow. This is incredible. So I want to ask you in regards to shaping that. What shaped that? What helped? What role models or what's in your journey allowed you to open up to that place from coming from a pleaser and the pattern of shutting down towards like, okay, I'm gonna open up and I want to move towards greatness?
Many moments. This is a particular one. This is a defining moment. So Jamie and I had just started dating, and it was about a week in. We had been, flirting, back and forth. I showed my interest. She showed her interest, but then we kind of like played it cool. We weren't quite really sure. I wasn't looking for anything. And so it was a very interesting time. It was like, whoa, what's going on here? And it was about a week in, and late Sunday night, she calls me. She said, I'm outside my house. And she's in the car. And so I walk out, it's raining, but I walk out in the car and she's in this beautiful red dress. She's wearing this amazing red dress and she's so just sensual and like, all over me, right? And I'm like, whoa, my little boy went, what's going on? And like this, I couldn't. And after just connecting, and eventually she's like, can you just take me inside? Like, are you going to take me inside? Like, just come on, just take me inside. And I was like, I can't really do that, hon. I live in a share house. There's 5 boys in there. I can't take you inside. I'm sorry. And that was a huge moment. She was like, what? What do you mean? What do you mean? And so that I noticed that she was completely taken aback and hurt by that. And so I was like, but you know what? Fuck it. We can go to we can rent a hotel room. It'll be fine. Let's go to a hotel room. And, meanwhile, the week before I couldn't even pay for dinner. I was just that broke at the time. And so she was so confused at the time. She's like, well, last week you couldn't pay for dinner. Now you want to take me to a hotel room. What is going on? And either you take me inside right now or we don't do any of it. And I felt for me, that was a big, defining moment. Like I was like called to show up, right? Show up. Just be there for me. And I felt completely shut down. I was triggered. My not enough was triggered. And I said, okay, I can't do it. So I walked out. I closed the door on this beautiful lady in a red dress who had come to be with me. And I walk out, and about 5 steps down the sidewalk, I go, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? Erik, turn around. And so I turned around. I jumped in the car and I said, okay, babe, let's go. We're doing it. We're gonna rent a hotel room. It's gonna be amazing. And I'll never forget, Anastasia, I'll never forget. She looked at me like as if I was the devil. She looked at me. She said, I am not a game. Get out. I cannot handle this. And she was crying. I'm not a game. Get out. And at that point, all of my systems, when I left, all of my systems were just in flux. I was just like, what the fuck just happened? I thought I was showing up. And then eventually, and it was just a complete mess. I thought that was it. We're broken up. That was it. I failed. Whatever the test was, I failed it. And I just said, I'm done. And I felt completely horrible. Later that night, I just couldn't sleep. And I was thinking, what actually happened here? I don't understand. She showed up like this, and she was really sensual all over me. I couldn't take her inside, but I said, we can do this. And I replayed it in my head like 1,000 times. I'm like, what happened there? And I made a commitment to myself that night. I said, I don't know what happened. Right now, I don't understand. But I'm going to make it my mission to figure this out. I'm going to figure this out. Whether it's with Jamie or not, I'm going to figure this out. And it happened to be that, Jamie was patient enough with me, just like you've been. And she was willing to take me on that journey after that. That was the defining moment. It became so painful not to understand, what was going on, that I forced myself. I had to figure this out. I need to know what's going on. And Jamie was willing to go on that journey with me. I had just a clearing conversation. I don't know what happened there. I'm so sorry. And I'm committed to moving forward with you. So that was the moment.
Wow. So what later, who has become, like, your teachers, you did mention David Data. Who
Yes.
do you find also as your role models or teachers or mentors in the journey of a man, or becoming a man, or discovering yourself a man, or empowering yourself as a man?
Perfect. So my first one was Tony Robbins. He was the early, I went to see him 5 years ago to his Firewalking UPW event, Unleash the Power Within. That all of a sudden I became aware that every man has this power to, like, stand in certainty. Oh, didn't know we could do that. All right. So I learned that. And then I became a bit more curious about the energy world, and especially being with Jamie, she's a powerhouse woman. And so I need to figure, there's more to this. There's more going on here. And so I dived into David Data, Way of the Superior Man. That's a book that I recommend to everyone who's curious about this. David Data, The Way of the Superior Man. And then now I'm in the work with Preston Smiles. Preston Smiles, who is he is phenomenal. He's phenomenal. He kind of marries the world of David Data with the world of Tony Robbins. He's take full ownership and responsibility. Meanwhile, we're all connected to the same source. So it's a spiritual and human expression of personal development.
Nice.
So he's resonating with me very strongly right now. Jamie and his wife is phenomenal too. So I would say started with Tony Robbins, then I went to the likes of David Data, and now I'm very much obsessed with Preston Smiles.
Nice. I will look into that. Yeah. So tell me, what do you respect about other men?
I respect integrity. When a man is able to say he's going to do something and then follow through. That is the number one thing that I respect right now.
Beautiful. And for people that are not so kind of involved in the dynamics of a masculine and the feminine, would you be able to share in your own words, like, how do you experience yourself different as a masculine versus the feminine, and in that relating?
Perfect. So we're different, right? That's the main thing. There's this big cultural shift now, is that women and men are all the same.
Exactly.
Sorry.
And I'm like, no.
This is not the case. This is not the case. Sorry, but not the case, right? So there's a cultural story that's being fed us that everyone should be equal and we are the same.
Yes.
Not the case. And so the first thing is noticing that we're different, right? We are completely, fundamentally different human beings. We're all from the same source, DNA, but we came to this planet different. And celebrating the differences, that's been my life mission so far, is celebrating the difference between men and women. First of all, knowing that it's there, then learning how to play with it. And then number 3 is like, how can we amplify and celebrate and really max out life? that's what I love to do. And so, to your question is, what is it like to be a man? We're very simple. Just for the women listening, men, we're very simple. What works for us?
Tell me more about like your simplicity.
Yeah. So a few things. One is our brain works in compartments. Okay, we can focus on one thing at a time. That's why we turn the music down when we read when we read our GPS. That's why we need to turn all distractions off in order to do one thing. We're very simple in that way. The other way we're simple is we're kind of like, no offense to any men listening, but we are kind of like dogs.
Okay.
We respond very well to training. Very well to training.
Okay.
Seriously. Now, stay with me on this one. We respond very well to training. I'll give you an example. Jamie has certain things that she wants from me. For example, she wants me to pick up the clothes, like dirty laundry around the house, especially in our room. There's like dirty socks and boxer shorts. I know that people can relate to this because it's not the first time I've heard this. So she wants me to do that. The way she used to relate to it is she used to, see a dirty sock and go, babe, sock. Can you please just, what is it so hard? Is it so hard? Honestly, I'm just could you just put it right. That's how she used to relate to me. And guess how that worked? Not very well. Okay, I would resist it. I would be like, babe, this is what you get. I used to like justify it because it would kind of be, she'd hurt my pride. So I need to like, you know what? Hey, this is just part of who I am. So that's what we used to do. Now she knows that we're like dogs. So she learned how to train me. So she uses the same. This is a great tip, by the way. If any women watching, if you want to train your partner, here's how you do it. You see the dirty sock, and you go, and you walk up to your man. And this is what Jamie does. She walks up to me and she goes, "Baby, I love you. I really do. The space that we're in is so important to me. Honestly, it's so important to me. When the house is clean, the room is clean, I feel amazing, and I feel like I can be completely like this." And she kind of alludes to like, okay. And I'm like, okay, you got my attention. Okay, you got my attention. Would you mind trying? I know it's hard. Would you mind trying to just keep the clothes in the basket, so in the laundry basket? And I'll be like, it would. And she goes, it would really make me feel amazing. And I go, okay, I can do that. So I go over it. I put put the dirty sock in the laundry basket, and she's all over me. She's like, "Baby, I love it when you help me out. Oh, I feel so amazing." And she gives me a big kiss, and just shows me so much affection, right? And now the room is just as clean as a whistle every day. I put my laundry in the laundry basket.
Oh, this is brilliant.
Follow that. Just think of me as a puppy. Yeah. What do you do with a puppy? When a puppy poops on the floor, first time it poops on the floor, do you smack it across the face and yell at it? No, it's a puppy. It's just a puppy. You gotta look. It doesn't deserve to be slapped, right, or yelled at. No, what do? You say, "Puppy, we're going to go outside and you're going to poop outside. We love you. Poop outside." As soon as the first time the puppy poops outside, what do? "Such a good boy. Yes, that's right. Pats, treats. Amazing. You're amazing." And puppy goes, "Amazing. Okay, I'm going to do that more." And so the puppy continues to do that. So the lesson is really simple. The lesson is really simple. All you have to do, you don't have to do anything other than this. If you're a woman and you want to train your man, just shift the level of enthusiasm that you used to do to punish your man, that level of enthusiasm, like, "Ugh," and shift that into appreciation when he does the right thing.
Yes.
And oh my God, you will not believe the results that you'll get. It has changed my world, and I feel like the best puppy in the world.
I don't think guys will like this, listening to this, but to women out there, I can I can totally relate, and I can also see how hard it is for women as well to stay in that
Mm,
space, because it means that you constantly need to be in the feminine, in this playful feminine, and it takes quite a bit of mindfulness and work on
mm-hmm,
yourself, because it's so easy to jump into the masculine and go like, this is wrong,
yes.
or this shouldn't be like that, and being more kind of in the harsh space, which is,
Mm-hmm,
here's the invitation of being in your soft energy, in a soft, flowy feminine. And
mm-hmm,
I love the way my partner teaches me, trains me, because I spent majority of my life in the masculine energy. And sometimes I do drop into this by default, or he's got in touch with his feminine, and sometimes I see when he's in his feminine too much, and I go like, darling, I don't like this, you're just too much in your feminine. And you know what he goes, well, if you see me in my feminine, drop deeper into your feminine, and that will bring me up into my masculine. I was like,
yes.
David, it's all about me again. It's always about me and how I respond to the situation. It's like how I change my energy, and my partner starts relating, changes his.
Mm. Anastasia, this is such an important topic, right? This is such an important point. It's because who starts, right? This is like, whose responsibility is it to shift the energy of a partnership, right?
Mm,
And this is such an important thing. I don't have a specific answer. I do know this, that the woman, you guys, you have an incredible power, incredible, more than us. And I'm not saying this to relinquish any responsibility. I'm saying this as my experience is, your power is incredible. The feminine can shift the masculine, in my opinion.
mm-hmm.
It's such a beautiful example of, and it's counterintuitive. If you want the masculine to step up, drop deep into your feminine. That's such a wonderful thing to live by. Just like, remember that. Now, what's that going to take, right? Jamie, we talk about this a lot. She says, I asked her, how did you do it? You know, like, I feel so empowered, and I've discovered all these things. How did you do it? I was clueless. I did not know I didn't know up from down or side from, I didn't know any of this masculine energy was a thing. How did you do it? And she said something very interesting. She said, Erik, what I had to do was I had to allow myself to fall, knowing that you might not catch me.
Wow.
And I thought, oh my God, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. I had to allow myself to fall, knowing that you may not catch me.
Mm-hmm.
For example, she would come home and, going through something, lay it all out, just open her heart and say, this is what I'm going through, crying. This is what I'm going through, very deeply in her feminine. And me not, at the beginning, I didn't know what to do with it. I did not know what to do with it. So I would try to fix it. Right? That's what men do. We fix things. We're built that way. We want to fix it. And so for the first few tries, she had to really open her heart, and me not being able to hold it. I wasn't able to hold the space. In fact, I was trying to interrupt her, and so it took a couple of tries. She had to be patient. It comes back to patience, and that's a courageous thing.
Mm-hmm.
Courageous thing for the feminine to completely surrender, knowing that the man is not going to catch her the first few times, most likely, because we don't know how. We have not been taught. So she said, that's how I did it. I know it's not going to be a popular thing to hear, because women go, oh, why, it's the masculine's, responsibility to step up. Yes, we hear you, absolutely. And you have a power to accelerate this whole process by continually surrender and training your partner when he does the right thing. Such an important topic, Anastasia. I love that you asked that question.
Yes, it is absolutely. And I guess that's my biggest kind of heart pain, and then like so that's where my heart goes out, because
Mm-hmm.
women, the feminine is incredibly powerful, and
Mm.
we are able, but we've been living too for far too long in that little girl state where we feel like abused or not appreciated or objectified by
Mm.
men, and we just keep
Mm.
running with that story, or shifting into the masculine to protect ourselves, which is moving into mature, powerful feminine, is going to bring up more and raise more of beautiful, powerful, honorable men. So that's what we want for the society, more of those strong and beautiful men that we can rely on at the moments when we don't have to rely as well, knowing that we don't have to rely, but we still rely.
Yes. Yes. Oh my God. Okay, this is just going from strength to strength. This interview is fantastic. Because that's the thing. Women, you don't need us like, as of, 10 years ago, for the first time in human history, you don't need us anymore. Right? Isn't that interesting, right? You don't need us for protection. You don't need us to be able to provide for you. You can provide for yourself. You don't even need us to have children anymore. So there's no societal bounds or reason that you need a man, which is so interesting, right? That creates some interesting. So now we're in a position where, well, why are we in a relationship? And I had to look at it too. I was like, why am I choosing to be in a partnership? Why not be alone? That's an interesting question now, because there's no reason to be together because I need to have kids, so I need a man. No, you don't need to. So my personal experience and my personal reasoning for being in a partnership is that it's the great multiplier. It's the amplification of the human experience.
Yeah.
Everything becomes, everything just becomes amplified. And that's how I want to live. I want to live fully. I want to live in expression of divine. And the way to do that, I believe, most powerfully is in an intimate relationship. What do you think, Anastasia? This is a really interesting question.
Oh, I personally love being in the feminine. I love that space. I love I love living there, and I know that I'm there when the masculine is present, and the deeper the masculine, the deeper I can go into the feminine. And just to give like women a point of comparison example, when I'm in my masculine mode, when I'm working, when I'm focused, I feel dry. I feel like very stiff and fixed. So that's the masculine energy. One's like, I gotta do this, I've got to visit like so many things today. I have to have my to-do list. I'm on it. But then there is this playfulness and juiciness, and all of a sudden your skin starts glowing, all of a sudden your eyes start sparkling, all of a sudden like you don't care what shape or size you are, if you have like extra kilo some here or there, you just don't care, because all of a sudden it's all about juice and movement and playfulness and ecstasy and orgasmicness, and it's just flowy, and it's moist, of opposite to the dry. Just to give it another picture to women. I love being in that place. I love being, that's where I become alive, when that's where I feel alive, and that dance comes out, that comes out in a dance with a masculine. So I love the masculine that holds that space or allows that awakens. I can be there by myself too. That and there's so many beautiful spaces where women drop in circles and they can juicy. However, it's almost like the ability of a masculine to penetrate a woman's heart to the depths of her that's something that they came here with this gift. So, and I think sometimes I feel like it's our job or our need to show them the possibilities of that. So.
Wow.
Well, I hope we turn few people into our camp, Erik, today with this conversation. I hope these people are gonna start googling David Data and Alison Armstrong and actually asking themselves, am I in my masculine? Am I in my feminine? And how do I show up? And how do I have this ecstatic life? Thank you so much. Incredible. I think it's just turned into this like most juiciest conversation I have ever had.
It's been such a pleasure, Anastasia. Such a pleasure.
Oh, thank you.